Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. And a stunning bit of good news today. I was heading out to lunch and my wife called and asked me if I had seen the news about Gaetz dropping out, and I had not. And it after last night's video saying that we have hope, maybe some of these senators can get a backbone, Trump's having to call them personally and twist some arms, and it doesn't seem like it's going over. That is exactly how it went down. He could not get the support for Gaetz. So Gaetz dropped out. And it's pretty amazing that, I mean, you have to, in some ways, Gaetz is almost worse than Trump himself. And now, we have to think back to when Trump was Gaetz's age, all kinds of stuff he was into at that time. So Gaetz couldn't hold a candle to that Trump, but 78-year-old Trump. Gaetz he's even too worse for Congress, if that says anything for you. He's even too worse for the House. Too bad for the House of Representatives. He resigned his seat when he was named the Attorney General, and that made a vacancy there. And he would have, well, it looks like he would have to, if he wanted to retake that seat, that it's already vacated. So there has to be a special election. So he would have to run for re-election. He had just been re-elected when he vacated. So he would have to run for re-election again. But now, with all of these details out, I know those Florida Panhandle people can be pretty full throttle, it seems. They keep electing him, but it even might be too much for them to swallow that it's a 17-year-old girl, and it wasn't once but twice. And supposedly she said, and the second time was also with another adult woman. So that's just too much. And Gaetz dropped out, and this is really, really big news because it sends a signal to Trump that he can't do whatever he wants. And more importantly, it sends a signal to all the Republican senators that they can still wield some influence, however small. And I just really love it. It just made my whole day when my wife told me that. And I've been kind of on cloud nine ever since, when I stop and think about it for a minute. So he can run for re-election, the special election, and try to get his seat back. He probably won't, because he'd probably lose, and he wanted to resign anyway. And so Trump has already named another Floridian, Pam Bondi, and that's a name that probably rings a bell for most of you. She's a longtime Trumper. She was actually an attorney general for the state of Florida for a long time, and I mean, at least she's been an attorney general. There is some legitimacy there. There was absolutely nothing but a big giant middle finger from Trump when he put forth the Gaetz nomination for head of the DOJ. At least you get an attorney general there. The attorney general is a big deal, and it's always politicized, so it's fine to have a Republican there who's going to do his bidding. They're always looking for people to do that. And I don't know, at least she has been an attorney general. She knows what the DOJ is about, presumably. So that's good news. Other good news is that, this was from, I believe, yesterday, that Biden got his federal judges in, and it was an effort to do that. He had to do it while he was still in office, while the Democratic senators still had the majority. So they had the numbers to do it, but Trump was going in with his nonsense again about how the Republican senators needed to stop that from happening, even though they really couldn't. He still kept trying to make it a thing, and even Senator J.D. Vance missed the vote. So several key senators, Trump allies, actually missed the vote. So if for some reason you had a few Democrats not show up, and the Republicans could have blocked that, it could have happened, theoretically, but they weren't even there. This is the other thing that gives me hope, is just the comic ineptitude of everyone he surrounds himself with. They're so irresponsible. They're so disorganized. They're so lazy. They're not going to have the energy and the wherewithal to screw up America to the extent that Trump would like to screw up America. They will still screw up America in many ways. But if he had real competent people around him, real high energy people, competent people, people who cared about all of this, we could be in some real trouble. Some of those people that are behind the scenes are going to be more up front now. Stephen Miller, Steve Bannon. There's just not enough of those guys. There's not enough of those bad guys who are smart enough and powerful enough that Trump would like to surround himself with. Remember, Trump's main requirement is that these people have some sort of sex offense to their name to give them cred with him, so they are in no danger of having any kind of more moral high ground over him. So it does leave him a smaller pool to choose from when he's only choosing from criminals. Remember, Steve Bannon just got out of prison just in time for the election. Stephen Miller's somehow never ended up there. I do think he's kind of the brains behind the operation. I always have. So that's encouraging that the people that Trump is putting in these positions are just people who are utterly incapable of even showing up for votes. So that's good news. And those federal judges matter. Remember, Eileen Cannon was kind of a midnight appointment for Trump just before he left office. And she's the one who single-handedly has been blocking the Mar-a-Lago, the classified documents case all along. For a really long time now. She single-handedly did that. And he just got her in under the gun before he left office in 2020. So these things can matter, and it also leaves, apparently, and I didn't realize this, when Obama had left office for Trump, there were quite a few federal judge openings that just were not filled. And I don't know if Obama didn't bother to fill them, or as a courtesy didn't think it was the right thing to do. But Donald Trump certainly shows no such courtesy, and Biden isn't either. And I think that's kind of cool that way too little, way too late, but he's kind of taking the gloves off a little bit here with this, with the authorization for Ukraine to use the longer range missiles in launch them at Russia. I mean, that's escalating in a hurry. I don't know. This is going to make Putin crazy, but I do think that Putin, unlike Trump, has the ability to be a little bit patient and wait for his boy to retake the office before he does anything totally crazy. So Putin will have to sit tight for a few more months, I think, than he was planning on it. I think he really did believe Trump that the day after the election, he would call Zelensky and tell him what's what. And he did. And he had Musk in there with him, probably telling him he was going to deactivate Starlink for Ukraine. But Zelensky has held his ground, like all of us were hoping he would, and he will continue to do so. So all that's encouraging as well. I'm just seeing a lot to like right now over the last few days, and it's going to be a long 2 months till Trump takes office. But these senators can just have a little bit stiffer of a spine. I think they got a taste of that over the last few days, that they do have a say in this. And that's just, it's pretty cool. Other item I wanted to talk about was some of you who were, I don't know, wondering what you could do. Yes, we want to resist. Yes, we're part of the resistance. One thing I did not see coming when I had that resistance video about it, and I just titled it kind of off the cuff, "Who's in?" Daily resistance, who's in? I mean, just a million people just, I'm in, and I just thought that was really funny, and I don't know, just kind of awesome. So it's, I mean, everybody's up for it, and we're all wondering what to do. I'm still trying to figure out what to do also, but I know we need to stick together. And I think for starters, for now, just staying motivated and keeping interest up. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stay interested. The temptation was pretty strong in those first few days to just disconnect, just say, it's too much, I can't do it. It's hard. I can't deal with this for 4 years. It's wrecking me. That tendency that's just natural human reaction to things. And that is what Trump is counting on. He is counting on just beating us down. He's counting on everyone giving up. He's counting on what happened, I guess, for enough people over these last 4 years is to forget about it. And I spent late August through early November every single day trying to remind everyone and reliving it myself what hell those 4 years were. But that was too late. And I'm not enough. There has to be a lot more people doing this, not letting people forget what happened the first time around, and now being aware of what he's doing every day. And the fact that not only Gaetz had to step down, he was pushed out, he was shouted down, but that Trump, I did have a fear when I heard that he was stepping down. Honestly, aside from the momentary jubilation and elation, it also what crept in was, oh my God, he's going to pick someone worse. He always does that. Whenever you think you've got him, he always comes back with something way worse. And who could it possibly be? There is no one worse than Matt Gaetz. And he didn't do that. He went with someone, he himself said, I guess, I'm not up for this fight right now on so many fronts. I'm just going to go with an actual attorney general to be the attorney general of the United States. And that's what you should do. So this is kind of his first conventional move, I think. And that's pretty cool. These are the encouraging things. And I would say to stay involved, there are a lot of people, a lot of other channels, a lot of news outlets, as we've seen with MSNBC, as we've seen a little bit with some people on CNN who have already rolled over. And I get it. They're actually scared of prosecution. But when you have real journalists, like people who are really principled, who really stand up for their craft, who are really, and I'm not saying I'm this kind of person, that it would take a special person to have this in them, the kind of person that would go to jail before giving up a source, say. Those kinds of people. We are finding out that those are not the people who necessarily we are watching on TV every day and every night at these networks. Certainly not the case with Fox News, not the case with CNN, not the case with MSNBC. There are some real warriors there, real fighters, plenty, but not all of them. And as a network, as a corporate network, they are running scared, and Trump is weaponizing the DOJ and those threats against these networks. Stephen Miller's already threatened them. So I get it. They're running it. They have to decide: are we running a business, or are we journalists? Are we news people? And they're businesses, and we've always known this. And they're showing their true colors now when the chips are down. So look to other places. Look to a place like, I got some information before coming on tonight from Axios. That's something I read years and years ago. I read it pretty religiously at the start of Trump's first term. There was two sources that kind of had a lot. There's probably several, but two that came to mind for me during the early days of that first Trump term to just help me grapple with it. Axios always had some real ear to the ground, hard hitting reporting, some really plugged in journalists. And I think they still do. That's where I learned about the Pam Bondi thing. I was just going there this evening to get a little more color on Matt Gaetz. And that's where I learned where he would actually have to go for re-election again, most likely, if he wants to. And also that they had named Pam Bondi. So Axios is where I found that. And then the other source back at the time, the thing that really put me onto the Russian connection with Trump and all the Russian propaganda and all the KGB stuff was Garry Kasparov, the chess player. But that dude, he's smart. He is smarter than me, smarter than, sorry to say, but probably most of you. He makes connections no one else makes. And he lived through that. He lived through the Soviet era. And he is no friend of Putin's. And he is just a guy that thinks multiple steps ahead. He thinks on different levels. I have not been hearing much from him over the last couple of years. I know he's still around. But early on, in early 2017 and then 2018, he was all over the place. That was one of the main reasons I stayed on Twitter as long as I did, was specifically for him, but also some people like him. That was the place where you would go to hear from them directly. They didn't have a news gig. So love people like that. Blue Sky, sorry, this is going kind of long. Blue Sky, this is something I signed up for an invite to back in January when it was invite only. And I never did bother to sign up because I thought I don't need the fleeting 5-minute news cycle thing in my life anyway, but it's gaining a lot of traction. People aren't going to leave Twitter or X en masse unless they have another alternative where they can find famous people, let's be honest. And the famous people aren't going to go to an alternative until there's a big enough audience for them. So you do have, this is going to be a very politicized thing, and where this is heading is just like Truth Social was Donald Trump's personal lie machine outlet. It's very much going to be a divide between the hard right only on X, I think, and then everyone else on something else. That something else could have been Mastodon, could have been Blue Sky. Mastodon's complicated. Blue Sky is not. Their CEO has been making the rounds the last few days. CNN yesterday, CNBC today. I love it. Describing how they're not going to be subject to being taken over by a billionaire, like building up hundreds of millions of users, and Elon Musk can just come in and buy his audience. That's not going to work with Blue Sky. It's too decentralized. There's not like a specific owner per se, and they make it you own all your followers and you can take things with you if you leave. That Twitter had a lock-in, and Blue Sky is purposely not building in lock-ins. So that's real encouraging. They're still real small. I believe they're 20 million users now. Twitter X's official reported users were, I want to say, 600 million monthly active users is what Musk most recently claimed. Independent verification puts that more like 300 million. So just like Trump, he lies to exaggerate about everything. 20 million to 300 million is what we're looking at with Blue Sky to X. It's big, but people are getting fed up with X. LeBron James is taking a break. He didn't say it was for political reasons. This was just today as well. He said it was, I think, just for the haters. But there has to be, I don't know. I would like to think that there would be some political reasoning there. I don't know that. He did not imply that there was. But the more, you might have your Nick Bosa's stay on X, and then you have your reasonable human beings come over to Blue Sky. So I'm at Tom Worth Jr. That's my Blue Sky handle. I haven't even been on it yet. I just confirmed it today finally. Some of the commenters here over the last few weeks that have left X have said they've gone to Blue Sky. So I encourage you to do that. If you are, again, I'm not that 5-second, 5-minute news cycle. I'm not just throwing out what I'm eating for breakfast. And I may not even post anything, but if I do get into the space where I'm looking for kind of up to the minute, up to the second news in a quick hitting format, that would be the place I would go, even though I'm not there yet. So I'm just talking about it now because the more people that can get there, the better. It's just building momentum, and that crowd will attract more people. So do that if that's something you're looking for, is that type of service, that micro news service. It's a long one, but this is good stuff. Today was a good day, and hopefully tomorrow will be as well. And we will talk to you all later.